This is Lisa with Heart of Inspiration. And here at this channel, we help you lead a whole and healed, peaceful, and prosperous life. Well, today, I have a very, very special treat for you. We are today discussing the Hermetic Principles. Okay, the first of the 7 Hermetic Principles, which is going to be the Principle of Mentalism. So, if you might recall, here at the Sunday Soul Podcast, we started a series in episode 22 that introduced the Hermetic Principles, and we're going to dive deep into them now. So let me, without further ado, go on and get us across to the presentation. Now, I do want to remind you, if you can, I'd like for you to please subscribe, please share, please hit that bell button, that notification button. That helps us, get out to not only the subscribers, but it helps with the algorithm. And also when you go on and leave us a comment, this is a pretty deep discussion. Okay. And that's for those of you that are on YouTube. For those of you that are listening to me on other platforms, please give me a follow, consider that as well. And I'd be more than happy to chat with you at some point. So reach out to me, okay? Go to my website or go to my link tree and reach out to me. So we are going to go ahead on and we are going to get into the biz, right? Get into this presentation on the Principle of Mentalism. This again is all about the 7 Hermetic Principles. This is the first of 7. Okay, I want to do a really quick review of this, of the Hermetic Principles before we even get started. The Hermetic Principles, as you know, are a part of Hermetic philosophy that has its roots in ancient Egypt. So all of these laws, and as you're going to see, it's very interesting because this predates the Greek mythology, this predates Norse, this predates a lot of the mythological and, I will say, spiritual beliefs or books that were written regarding spiritual beliefs and spirituality that we now come to in this day and age feel like is infinitely more accurate. Okay, or should I say that those that are being followed to a greater degree today. And what we're finding as we go up to a 5th dimensional consciousness, that these old teaching, these old ways, and these old philosophies are, in fact, this old wisdom has been, in fact, hidden from us, or this occult or hidden wisdom has been hidden from us. And then, therefore, we've not had access to some of the greater abilities, the greater spiritual truth that our ancestors did. Now, this wisdom, this Hermetic wisdom, and I'm sure that you guys have heard of the Hermetic Principles. You've heard of these before. This is nothing new. This wisdom was passed to mankind through the quote unquote master of masters, Hermes Trismegistus. He and I we'll get along eventually. Hermes was the father of the occult or hidden wisdom, the founder of astrology, and the discoverer of alchemy. Hermes became thought, or he was deified by the Egyptians at some point, and so Hermes, Trismegistus, and Thoth are the same. So when we say the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, we are talking about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth as well. And then later on, the Greeks decided that they would adopt him as well as the messenger or the scribe of the gods in Greek mythology. So he's very well known throughout the ages. It's only been recently once, man decided that they didn't want to deal with or didn't want to adhere to the Greek, Roman, and other, plural theistic deity spiritualities and adopt a monotheistic concept of spirituality and creation and all that we get what we have today. These teachings were historically and have been historically reserved for a select few. As most people honestly were not ready to hear and understand, that you had to be, in order to receive these teachings and dive into this deep, which is why it was called a cult. It is called a cult. Wisdom or occult magic or occult spirituality, because it was taught in secret schools. It was taught, in mystery schools. You had to have proven yourself to have gained a certain amount of spiritual wisdom and knowledge in order to be able to be taught, pardon me, anything in regard to this. They were not going to cast their pearls before swine. That was actually something that was said way back before it was stated in the Bible. So they just were not going to give this information out to people that probably could not handle it, nor would they really be in a position to put it into actual practice. And therefore, it was a waste of time to even give it to them. We're in a better evolutionary stage as humanity, right? Right now, we are, in fact, right now at the precipice of the next evolutionary jump. We're at the precipice of the next evolutionary, we're going into fifth dimensional realities, and therefore we are in a greater sense. If you're going through your ascension, your awakening process, you're in a good place to receive this information. You're going to be able to grasp it and be able to start to integrate it into your very being. We must remember, however, that this Hermetic philosophy that I'm teaching on now for the next couple of I don't know, 7 or 8 at least, episodes, this is true alchemy, right? This is the mastery of what we're going to call for now mental forces to manipulate material reality. This is the mastery of mental forces to manipulate material reality. And we're going to get into that a little bit more here in just a second. All right. The principle of mentalism, this idea, this light bulb comes on, this woohoo, here we are. We are ready to get started. The principle of mentalism, to understand, not understand or stand underneath. But I want you all to understand, stand within, allow this to stand within you, take root. Each of these Hermetic principles should become your reality as you implement them. We have to begin with the belief that everything is mental. Okay, everything is mental. This is a philosophical belief. This kind of harkens back to, okay, so if everything is mental, this kind of puts us back in this philosophical belief. I took a philosophy course when I was attending Northwestern University, and I took the course because I was pledging at that point, actually, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And as a pledge, any of you who have pledged, especially the Black Greek fraternities and sororities, Black Greek organizations, you know that your time is very limited for study or anything else, right? So you got to take classes that you think are going to be okay, and you're going to be able to get through them and still maintain a GPA, because you have to maintain a decent GPA in order to actually be a member of said organization. And plus, you don't want your parents to think, oh my gosh, my child has lost their ever-loving mind. And so you got to keep it up. So I took philosophy. I was a biochem major. I took philosophy thinking this is going to be simple. Holy cats, that was the worst thing I could have ever done. But the whole concept during this whole philosophical, existential, whatever, semester long or quarter long discussion in my case was that either I was dreaming everything around me and all of you were part of my dream, or one of you was dreaming everything and I was part of your dream, or we were all part of a huge dream of some other unknown entity, like way out there, unknown, and we're all part of that dream. But nothing we were doing was real. It was all part of a dream. It was all part of a construct. Okay? So everything is mental. There, someone, somewhere, something, somebody, and a lot of somebodies or consciousnesses or whatever you want to say, we're all having some thoughts, man. There are some thoughts that are happening. And because there are these thoughts that are happening, that's how our reality is, in fact, constructed, that you and I know as third dimensional reality. So regardless if we're all part, if you're part of my dream and I'm part of your dream, or you're part of my dream and we're part of a dream or whatever, we are all part of one consciousness. Something somewhere has created what we are living in right now. Okay? We are all part of one consciousness. This is the beginning of the principle of mentalism. So if you can't grab onto that, this law of one, okay, I'm going to ask you to pause this, go look into the law of one, go do your research or go do your meditations or go do whatever you got to do. But until you get to this point first, we can't go any further. So at least be willing to say, hey, you know what? I'm willing to potentially agree to that. We are all part of the one, or a one, singular consciousness, universal. Okay. Now, if we get there, there is a saying, we are but a thought in the mind of the all, ALL, which is capitalized. The all is, in fact, universal consciousness, universal life force. The all is God. The all is love. The all is light. The all is creation. The all is creator. The all is mother, father, spirit. The all is great spirit. The all is universal consciousness. The all is universal life force energy. The all is creation energy. The all is the all. It is that which we cannot describe, we cannot ascertain, we cannot wrap our brain around as human beings. We cannot fathom what the all is, because the all is the all. The all is that entity, the higher power, the higher being that we are all seeking to be in relationship with. That's what the all is. Bottom line. That's it. That's all. Okay. That is what the all is. We are but a thought in the mind of the all. So if I'm going by the previous slide, which said that we are, let's just go to that previous slide, that everything is mental, then the all, or the universe, is mentally having the thought that I am speaking these words to you. And as part of the all, therefore, my sliver of consciousness is having that thought. But it is all the same thought. And trying to wrap our brains around that, our third dimensional brains, or explain it in human terms, is virtually, if not incredibly, impossible, especially third dimensional terms. The all is consistently made reference to throughout the ages as the supreme creative force of the universe. Again, creator, mother, father, spirit, great spirit, God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, I don't know. Take your pick. Father's the God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. The creator, the universe, whatever. It is the supreme, it is supreme spirit, it is the creative force that has created all. If you want to say the force, it's the force. If you're like a Star Wars spiritualist, it's the force. Our current world, so we have a little bit more of a vocabulary that we can use when we're discussing higher dimensions and the creative, supreme creative force. So currently we would refer to this as higher dimension energy, or ninth dimension and above, where creation and supremacy in creation happens. Granted, some of us can only really kind of conceive of 12 dimensions. I would say there's probably, a bajillion more than that. Like there's an infinite number of dimensions because there's an infinite universal energy. However, for our intents and purposes here on Earth, we really only need to kind of conceive of 12 because really once we get past 8 or 9, it's impossible for us to even conceive of that anyway. So it's ninth dimension or above. The all is therefore the actuality and very essence of creation and creativity. I want to stress that point. This is a thus saith Lisa. This is me taking the Hermetic principles and saying and processing this and channeling what I'm receiving about the principle of mentalism. The principle of mentalism states that we are part of the all, right? That everything is mental, that mental consciousness is part of the all, which is supreme consciousness that we cannot, and that supreme creator. It is the creative force. Therefore, the actuality or the reality or what the all is at its very essence is that of creation and creativity. And if we are then a portion of, a sliver of, a thought of, a part of the all, we are part of the one, then we ourselves are the very actuality and creativity in our higher dimensional self, our true self. And we'll get to that, but I'm going to start invoking this now and introducing this now so you can let this simmer and marinate. We're the very essence of creation and creativity. Let's talk about this concept of thought then. Thought, if you think about what a thought is, it's neither tangible nor it's visible. Is it visible? Right? Thought is a thought. You can't touch it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it, but it's there. I'm going to propose to you that there are actually 3 places where thought occurs. Again, the principle of mentalism is everything is mental. Did I miss a thing? Nope. Everything is mental. When we say mental, we think thoughts, right? That's when we say everything is, it's all in your mind. The thoughts in your mind. There are actually 3 places where thought occurs, however, on a cellular level, on a mind or a third dimensional mind level, and at the higher consciousness level. I'm going to briefly go through all 3 of these. At the cellular level, you need to understand that your DNA, our DNA, our cells, all of that absorb current and historic frequencies. Every energetic trauma that's ever happened to you and your physical ancestors has been stored in your DNA. Everything. This is why there's a DNA of slavery for African Americans, or ADOS. Let me put it that way, because you can be African American and not ADOS or African American descendant of slaves. You can be one and not the other. If you immigrated here after slavery, or you were always or your ancestors here were free folk, always freemen, or you owned slaves, your family owned them. So American descendants of slaves are not necessarily all African American. American descendants of slaves, there is historical memory that's stored in our DNA and that's been passed along. Well, Lisa, how could it be passed along? Well, excuse me, don't you get your DNA from your mother and your father? And don't your father and your mother get their DNA from their mothers and their fathers, so your grandparents, and then them from their from your great grandparents and the great great grandparents and the great 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 and great great great. So you cannot tell me that is not passed down through the DNA, because that's how you were created. That's how you came into, that is the codex for your third dimensional avatar that you have incarnated into in this lifetime. That is the codex. That is the blueprint. Yes. And that blueprint came from other blueprints that were passed along to it. And in each one of them, there is a memory. There are memories. There are frequencies that are stored within the DNA that then help us to either evolve or devolve or do whatever we need to do in order to react in a certain way to certain stimuli. Our cells throughout our year, so the DNA then constructs the cells. However, the cells as well absorb current and historic frequency. Let's go a little bit further. Our bodies are 60% water, our brain and heart 73% water. Water has memory. Water conducts frequency. Water reacts and reconfigures based on the frequencies it is exposed to. Therefore, your cells, your body itself, because your cells have water and all this water everywhere, which is water everywhere throughout your body, your water. Therefore, what happens is that you will have a reaction, a visceral reaction. Your cells have a thought, because a thought is not tangible. A thought is not, you can't feel it, touch it, or taste it. A thought is basically a frequency of an idea. That is the only way it can become tangible or physical or visible. So that frequency comes in and your body says, so someone's coming at you. Let's say in your family, there's been, let's just say a lot of people that have suffered maybe with alcoholism. And then you encounter somebody. So you've seen the destruction and the chaos and all of this that alcoholism can cause, and the physical, the emotional, and mental pain and trauma. So now you're an adult and you're out and about and you meet somebody and you guys start dating and you start noticing that there's a lot of alcohol being consumed on a regular basis. Your cellular memory will indeed kick in and you will find yourself not attracted to that other person. Even if you used to be attracted to them at first, before you all started kicking it and you went on date number 3 and you're like, how much more can this person drink? And in between that time, you've been talking to them for the last week, and every time you speak to them on the phone, it's 7 o'clock and they are 3 sheets to the wind. So therefore, your visceral, even if you found them attractive and your body was reacting in that way hormonally and everything, you got all those, the butterflies and the this and the that and the other, your body then will recoil. It has a thought, primal thought, but it has thought. Your water, literally, the water molecules in your body will crystallize and they will react and realign themselves and become new crystals based upon words and or frequencies they are being exposed to. Now let's talk about our 3D mind. Our 3D mind, I've spoken on this before on this channel, is designed to store and statistically assess the possible negative or possible outcome of every situation we're in. Your third dimensional mind cannot think in the future. It really can't. You tell it, you can program it to think of what the future will be. However, it's not designed to do that. It is designed to remember everything in your past. And by it being 73% water, I'm going to guess it probably remembers a lot of what's happened in your ancestral past, be it your personal ancestral or the ancestrals of others. And then it then takes all of that information and processes it all and says, oh, yeah, you had this great idea, perhaps from your higher self. Hopefully it was presented to you that maybe we should do X, Y, and Z. Maybe you should go in and, become a spiritual healer or get that certification. Great. Awesome. Well, hey, yeah, you've thought about doing all these other certification things before and blah, 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 blah. And these people weren't really real and da, 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 da. And they were just charlatans. Nope, I don't think that's a good idea. That's what statistically, it's like, oh, how many people are really, is she for real? Like, how do you know that? Da, da, da. Right? It is a massively efficient and effective supercomputer. So the thought that the 3D mind has can be changed, altered, or reprogrammed. If you wish to have a different outcome in an algorithm, you simply change the algorithm. Because then the same input as it comes out on the other side, once it goes through the computation, will add and actually come out statistically different. Because why? You changed the algorithm. You can change your computer to run certain programs. You can update the program when a new version comes out and then it runs more smoothly. Your mind has already been programmed. Your mind has been programmed. it will run a certain program based upon all of the historical data and information, everything that your parents, your grandparents, your aunties, people, blah, 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 have taught you. So therefore, you're always changing and updating your program based on your what mindset work. How do you change your mindset? You renew your mind with the washing of the word. That is a verse in the Bible. Our divine word as well as supreme divine. We have to get to the point that we understand, because we are part of the all. We are part of all consciousness. We are part of all consciousness. Therefore, we are divine of the divine. And if we take that to its logical end, its logical conclusion, when we renew our mind with the washing of the word, that is a new program that we are placing in, so that the algorithm then changes. So then the outcome of what our statistical analysis says can be done or will happen will then change. Once that statistical outcome then changes, then the mind has no choice but to create that which it believes will happen in the third dimensional realm. You can renew your mind with the washing of your word as it is in line with supreme divine, as we all are part of the one consciousness. Now, there are some that are living at a lower vibrational frequency and tapping into the power of the lower vibrational frequency. That will still happen. Then what you will create then will be based on solely on third dimensional success and have nothing to do with your higher dimensional realities, or should I say your higher dimensional reason for incarnating. One way or the other, it will be created. Let's get to the higher consciousness level now, because my stance on this is that this is where we should be truly enacting the principle of mentalism from now that we have a deeper understanding, and now that we are of our higher selves, we are actively living or moving towards living in fifth dimensional consciousness. From our higher consciousness level, we have thought, quote unquote, thought on a 5D level. That time, those times that you have thoughts that you're just like, oh yeah, that's really me. And then you have another thought that's your third dimensional self that's like, oh no, I can't do that. You can't do that, right? You know the difference. You guys, hopefully, if you're becoming spirit led, you know the difference between that beautiful inner voice that's like, oh, right? You know that voice, that soft, still voice. That is your higher self. That is your 5D thought. The fifth dimensional or 5D higher consciousness has access to the consciousness of the all. Because why? It exists outside of third dimensional matrix and beyond fourth dimensional time or space, where it lives in infinity, where the all lives, infinite cosmos that has been here from before time and will be here after time. This, beloveds, is where true, quote unquote, mental thought occurs from a higher realm. This is the truth of it all. We can institute all of this from a third dimensional, the secret, right, perspective, or we can institute this from a quantum level, which is in 5D, from quantum, where there's no time or space. The principle of mentalism, therefore, is this: nothing occurs without there first being a thought. This is magic, this is manifestation, this is alchemy, this is creation. Nothing occurs without there first being a thought. This thought must occur in both 5D and 3D. I say it must occur outside of ourselves and inside of our human self, almost simultaneously, but very close behind the other. Because without a third dimensional thought, now I'm saying from a higher self perspective, you can be creating from a lower dimensional self. that's a lower dimensional frequency or a shadow frequency that is also working with a 3D frequency. Okay. But it must occur in both. So your higher consciousness has to then renew your third dimensional self, the third dimensional thought. So there has to be the belief there in the third dimension, otherwise nothing can happen. Once the thought occurs in both, creation must and will occur. There is no choice in the matter. And this, beloveds, then becomes the principle of mentalism from a 5D perspective. Let me get back to where I was so I can see you guys. Can't see you. Okay, I'm back. I hope this makes sense. I hope it makes sense. I hope you're grasping where we're going here with this. That we have to look at these Hermetic principles now from a 5D level. They can no longer be looked at from solely a third dimensional alchemic perspective. Reprogram your 3D mind with your 5D higher consciousness. And from that point, you will begin to be able to put into actual work, right? Actual practice, the principle of mentalism. So the first principle that we need to do is we need to do a mind shift and a mind change. That's the principle. Understand you are part of the all. The all is part of you, and everything begins with your thought. And let it begin with your higher thought. Beloveds, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I would love the opportunity to be able to work with you, and we are having right now. We're continuing to do our spiritual counselor energy healer certification program. This is the kind of stuff we talk about. We get deep. So if you are interested in getting deep and getting in and just growing and learning and then getting into purpose, if you go to https and then colon / linktr.ee/heart of inspiration, all one word, you're going to get to my link tree. Go there, or there should be a link somewhere below. Click that link, book a call with me, and let's see if enrollment in Lightworker Academy is right for you. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Namaste. Bye-bye.